The Order of Nine Angles. O9A is an underground occult network that mixes satanic beliefs with extreme right and accelerationist ideologies. It originated in Britain during the late 20th century and operates as a decentralized movement with no formal leader or headquarters. The group promotes a worldview called sinister esotericism, which encourages followers to seek personal transformation through transgressive acts and to embrace chaos as a way to destroy modern moral and political systems. O9A's writings use a mix of mystical and extremist language, teaching that human civilization must collapse to make way for a new, stronger order. Security agencies describe it as a dangerous fusion of occultism and violent extremism, influencing individuals and small cells around the world. Authorities in the UK and other countries have linked some adherents to terror-related crimes and acts of violence. The network spreads mainly online through encrypted channels using obscure spiritual terms to mask extremist ideas. The Boogaloo Movement. This group is a loosely organized anti-government extremist network that emerged in the United States during the late 2000s. It centers around the belief that a second civil war, often called the Boogaloo, is inevitable or should be provoked to overthrow the federal government. The movement blends pro-gun militancy, libertarian rhetoric, and accelerationist ideology, meaning its followers believe that social collapse or chaos can create a new political order. Members commonly wear Hawaiian shirts and military gear, using igloo or big luau imagery as coded symbols for their cause. The movement gained attention in 2020 when some adherents appeared at protests armed and calling for violent resistance. U.S. authorities have since linked several violent incidents and plots, including attacks on law enforcement, to self-identified Boogaloo supporters. Its online communities spread propaganda and memes to recruit and radicalize new members, often masking extremist ideas behind humor. Law enforcement now classifies the Boogaloo ideology as a domestic terrorism threat because of its calls for armed insurrection and destabilization of government institutions. United Acceleration Front, UAF, is an online extremist network that emerged around 2021 within the Terrorgram community on the messaging app Telegram. It operates as a loose coalition of militant accelerationist groups that aim to hasten the collapse of society through violence and chaos. The group promotes a blend of neo-Nazi, white supremacist, and anti-government ideologies, encouraging followers to exploit social unrest to trigger large-scale conflict. UAF members glorify past attackers, share violent propaganda, and circulate digital manuals promoting sabotage and terrorism. The group has no formal leadership or structure, relying instead on encrypted platforms and anonymous accounts to spread its message globally. Researchers have linked UAF's online networks to a rise in accelerationist propaganda and violent plots inspired by its ideology. Law enforcement agencies and counterterrorism experts view it as part of a new wave of extremist movements that exist primarily online but pose real-world security threats. The group's goal is not political reform, but total societal breakdown, making it one of the most dangerous expressions of modern extremist accelerationism. Terrorgram. Terrorgram is a decentralized network of online extremist channels that formed on the messaging app Telegram in the late 2000s. It promotes accelerationism, a belief that society should be destabilized through violence and chaos to trigger a racial or political collapse. The movement combines neo-Nazi, white supremacist, and anti-government ideologies, glorifying acts of terrorism and praising attackers as saints. Terrorgram operates mainly through encrypted channels using digital magazines, memes, and propaganda to spread its message and recruit followers worldwide. Its content often encourages lone wolf violence, sabotage, and mass casualty attacks. Several terrorism cases in the US, Europe, and Latin America have been linked to individuals influenced by its ideology. Governments, including the US and UK, have designated Terrorgram as a terrorist network due to its role in radicalization and incitement of violence. Despite major crackdowns and arrests, its digital influence persists across alternative platforms, making it one of the most dangerous online extremist groups. 764. 764 is a decentralized extremist network founded in 2021 by Bradley Caden, a teenager from Stephenville, Texas. Named after the town's zip code, it is classified as a Tier 1 terror network by the FBI and a terrorist group by the U.S. Department of Justice. Active mainly on Discord and Telegram, 764 targets vulnerable youth, especially those who are marginalized. The group uses blackmail to force victims into recording harmful acts, which are then shared within the network or on social media. Victims may also be coerced into carving symbols on their skin as a form of branding. 764 adopts satanic, nihilistic, and misanthropic beliefs, rejecting moral norms and seeing no value in human life. It is linked to a broader network known as the Community, and is allied with the violent Russian-Ukrainian Maniac murder cult. Splinter groups such as Cultist, Harm Nation, League Society, 676, and XVN share its ideology. Thousands of members engage in cybercrimes including swatting, doxing, and extortion, targeting victims for harassment or financial gain. These crimes are often committed to gain status within the network or simply to inflict harm and create chaos in society. FBI Director Kash Patel described the group as deeply disturbing. Arrests related to 764 have occurred in at least 8 countries for serious crimes. As of May 2025, the FBI has 250 active investigations and estimates that thousands of children have been victimized globally. The Base. The Base is a neo-Nazi, white supremacist terrorist group founded in 2018 that advocates the violent collapse of society to establish a white ethno-state. It operates through a decentralized cell-based structure inspired by James Mason's Siege, promoting leaderless resistance and the prospect of a race war. Its core belief is that societal collapse can be accelerated through violence, including terrorist attacks and lone actor assaults. The group used a strict vetting process to recruit individuals willing to commit violence and organized paramilitary training camps to prepare them. The network's decentralized model was designed to shield its operations from infiltration, although several members were arrested by U.S. law enforcement in 2020. While primarily active in the United States, the base has had cells in Canada, Australia, South Africa, and Europe. In April 2025, the group allegedly offered financial rewards for sabotage against infrastructure and for the assassination of Ukrainian officials. Several countries have designated the base as a terrorist organization. Attomwaffen Division. This group is a neo-Nazi accelerationist terrorist group founded in the United States in 2015. Its ideology combines white supremacy, anti-Semitism, and militant accelerationism, the belief that society must be violently collapsed to create a new fascist world order. The group emerged from the online forum Iron March and attracted disillusioned young men who were radicalized through extremist propaganda and encrypted chats. Attomwaffen operated through small, secretive cells that conducted weapons training and promoted leaderless resistance, encouraging members to carry out attacks independently. Members have been linked to multiple murders, plots to attack critical infrastructure, and attempts to start a race war. The group's propaganda glorified terrorism and idolized figures such as Adolf Hitler and American extremists advocating violence. Law enforcement in the US, Canada, and Europe has arrested and prosecuted numerous members, leading to the group's partial dismantling. Despite its decline, Attomwaffen's ideology continues to inspire successor movements online, making it one of the most influential and dangerous examples of modern far-right extremism. National Action. National Action was a far-right neo-Nazi group founded in the United Kingdom in 2013 that promoted white supremacy, anti-Semitism, and violent extremism. The group's ideology centered on the belief that a race war was inevitable and necessary to overthrow the democratic system and create a white-only state. Strongly influenced by Nazi symbolism and propaganda, National Action mixed traditional fascist imagery with online meme culture to attract young recruits, particularly through universities and social media. Members organized rallies, spread hate-filled leaflets, and praised acts of political violence, including the murder of Member of Parliament Joe Cox in 2016. The UK government banned the group later that year under the Terrorism Act, making it the first far-right organization to be officially prescribed as a terrorist group. After its ban, several members continued operating under new aliases such as the System Resistance Network and Sonnenkrieg Division, leading to further arrests and convictions. Though dismantled, National Action's ideology continues to influence smaller extremist circles across Europe, marking it as a key model for modern neo-Nazi accelerationist movements. No Lives Matter. No Lives Matter is a violent neo-Nazi and nihilistic extremist network that emerged online around 2023, promoting chaos, mass violence, and hatred toward humanity itself. The group rejects all political or moral systems, believing that life has no value and that destruction is the only truth. Its ideology mixes white supremacist, accelerationist, and misanthropic themes, encouraging followers to commit random acts of murder, terrorism, and sabotage to accelerate societal collapse. No Lives Matter operates mainly through encrypted platforms like Telegram and Discord, where members share extremist propaganda, kill guides, and bomb-making instructions. Unlike traditional extremist groups with political goals, it glorifies violence for its own sake and recruits mostly young, isolated individuals drawn to online nihilism. Several members have been linked to real-world attacks, including stabbings and planned school shootings in Europe. Security agencies describe the group as one of the most unpredictable and dangerous extremist movements because of its decentralized structure and ideology of senseless destruction. Dark Enlightenment, also known as the Neo-Reactionary Movement, is an anti-democratic and authoritarian ideological movement that emerged online in the early 2000s. It was founded on the writings of British philosopher Nick Land and American blogger Curtis Yarvin, who rejected modern democracy, equality, and liberalism. The movement argues that democracy leads to social decay and believes that society should return to hierarchical rule under a strong, centralized authority or corporate-style governance. Central to its ideology is the concept of the cathedral, a term used to describe universities, media, and governments that it claims enforce progressive control over society. The Dark Enlightenment promotes elitism, social Darwinism, and technocracy, favoring rule by a small, intelligent elite rather than by popular vote. While it operates mostly as an online intellectual network rather than a formal organization, its ideas have influenced sections of the far right, tech libertarians, and some anti-democratic political thinkers. Earth Liberation Front. ELF is a radical environmental movement that emerged in the early 1990s in the United Kingdom and later active across North America and Europe. The group is known for using economic sabotage, including arson and property destruction, to protest industries and institutions they believe are destroying the environment. ELF operates through a leaderless resistance model, meaning individuals or small autonomous cells carry out actions independently without central leadership. Their targets have included logging companies, housing developments, SUV dealerships, and university laboratories conducting animal or environmental research. ELF members justify their actions as ecological defense, claiming to avoid harming human life while causing millions of dollars in property damage to halt what they view as ecological exploitation. The group gained notoriety after the 1998 Vail Ski Resort arson in Colorado, which caused over $12 million in damages and became one of the largest eco-terrorist attacks in U.S. history. In response, the FBI labeled ELF a top domestic terrorist threat, leading to Operation Backfire, a major investigation that resulted in multiple arrests. While ELF's activity has declined since the mid-2000s, its ideology of militant environmentalism continues to inspire smaller, underground eco-extremist movements worldwide. Sovereign Citizen Movement. This group is an anti-government ideology that rejects the authority of federal, state, and local governments, claiming individuals are subject only to common law or their own interpretation of it. The movement originated in the United States in the 1970s from anti-tax and posse comitatus groups that opposed federal power. Followers believe that the government operates as an illegitimate corporation, and that people can opt out of its authority by declaring themselves sovereign. They often use pseudo-legal tactics, filing fake liens, false lawsuits, and fraudulent documents, acts known as paper terrorism. Some refuse to pay taxes, register vehicles, or carry licenses, viewing such requirements as government control. Although many adherents claim to be peaceful, the movement has been linked to violent confrontations with police, including deadly incidents during traffic stops and standoffs. The FBI classifies sovereign citizens as a domestic terrorism threat because of their potential for violence and large-scale fraud. Today, the ideology has spread internationally, particularly in Canada, Australia, and Europe, often blending with conspiracy theories and anti-establishment beliefs shared online. Maniac Murder Cult. MMC is a violent neo-Nazi and accelerationist network that emerged online in Eastern Europe around 2020. The group promotes extreme nihilism, racial hatred, and the belief that society should be destroyed through acts of random violence. Its ideology blends neo-Nazism, white supremacy, and misanthropy, glorifying murder and terror as tools to accelerate social collapse. MMC primarily operates on encrypted platforms like Telegram, where it spreads propaganda, violent videos, and extremist manifestos to recruit young and isolated individuals. Authorities report that the group has inspired or directed real-world attacks, including stabbings, arson, and hate crimes across Europe and North America. In 2024, U.S. prosecutors charged alleged MMC leader Mikhail Butcher-Chkikvishvili with organizing and encouraging violent acts, including plots targeting civilians and minority communities. law enforcement agencies describe MMC as one of the most dangerous and unpredictable extremist movements because it promotes violence for its own sake, with no political goal other than chaos and destruction. Hammerbande. Hammerbande is a German far-left accelerationist group that blends militant anarchism, anti-fascism, anti-police, and anti-government ideologies. Its structure avoids strict hierarchies, favoring decentralized coordination and flat internal roles. The group uses targeted violence against individuals they label as far-right, viewing such actions as a means to dismantle capitalism and liberal democracy. Known for ambushes involving hammers, pepper spray, and chloride, Hammerbande focuses on physically disabling right-wing extremists. Members undergo training and are invited to participate in specific operations based on trust and prior involvement. The group is connected to the broader Antifa movement and has expanded its operations beyond Germany. In February 2023, Hammerbande affiliates were responsible for violent assaults in Budapest, attacking suspected far-right participants based on their clothing and appearance. Lena Engel, one of the group's central figures, was convicted of multiple violent crimes, including attempted murder. Despite her arrest, the network has continued to operate. The exact size of the group remains unclear.